Okay, so just let me check to be sure. If people you can see us, say hello.
Okay. Wow, exciting.
Exciting. Yeah. Yeah, so we are already there. Okay. So today we have our live. So I am Christelle Pilot and I help parents to recapture freedom. So what I do, it's really like energy management, time management, changing career, having a better communication and doing team building at home in order to have like the supportive family. So we all parents would love to have at one point. And I'm very pleased to have you, Renata, today, because today we are going to speak about something that I'm not used to speak about, and it's a little bit different than what I suggest as an interview, and we are going to speak about numerology.
That's right.
That's right. So just maybe in order that people understand better why you do that and who you are, can you tell us where you are from and how did you start to do this numerology? Because we met both in like a business school in order to build our businesses and so on. It was like 2 years program. Very well-known program of T. Harv Eker. But how did you start your journey?
Sure. Okay. So thank you, Christelle, for inviting me. That's exciting. Like I said. Okay. So originally I'm from Poland, and I've lived in the UK for the last 16 years, over 16 years now. And okay, so how numerology found me really. So I was taking part in one of the events of Quantum Leap, and that was in Amsterdam. That was 3.5 years ago, and there were about 500 people in the meeting at the event. And I kept seeing a very tall guy that obviously he was very tall. So he was quite, visible in the crowd, but I never sort of had the chance to talk to him. And then after the 5 days, the Polish group went to a pub. So we went to a pub and I joined his table and he was talking. So I haven't met him before. So I said, hello, can I join your table? And he was talking very passionately about numerology. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. And then I asked him to tell me something about myself based on my date of birth. So he wrote down my date of birth on a piece of napkin and told me about the relationship between my parents when I was born. And that was mind-blowing. I felt like, okay, there is something to it. So a couple of months later, his wife became my numerology teacher. So this is how it started.
That's how it started. Okay, great. So you had these aha moments like, oh my God, there is something, because we did a session together, right? I tested it as well. And I was a little bit like, numerology, I'm not sure about what it is really. So maybe after you can explain us what is numerology. And I was like, well, with number, I knew it was with number. I'm not sure that we can really see something. And it was a very interesting session. It was mind-blowing as well for me about what you told about my parents and the relation they had with me. So I was like, oh, okay, it's correct. It's what I thought. And then you came to my children and so you said a few things, was like, oh my God. So, and so for the people looking at us, she couldn't know about what she explained. It was just not possible. It's written nowhere. It's something that I never I never spoke about with nobody. Maybe my mom once, but you are not in contact with my mom, and my mom doesn't speak
No,
English anyway. So, so
I
it
speak a
was
bit of
like,
French, but not.
ah.
I,
So it was like, oh my God, there is really something there. And that's why I was really thrilled to have you today, because I wanted you to share. So what is numerology and what we can do with that?
Okay, so there are different types of numerology. So it's it's an ancient knowledge, really. So it was restricted to people of power, I think, in the ancient times. Not everybody could have the knowledge. So it's these days it's more common, or people can learn about it, about aspects of it on the internet, for example, but it's best to learn from a teacher. So this is how I learn numerology, and I use 4 systems. So there are 4 systems that I take into account in analyzing. And I can see the interplay of certain numbers in, for example, in the date of birth, in the letters that we have in our names, because they are very important. For example, if we don't have certain letters, then we can have difficulty in certain areas of our life. So yeah, there are so many aspects of numerology. So not only date of birth, but also the names. I take into account all the names.
Okay, so date of birth and the names. And so you told me that depending of the date of birth, so there is the months, which has a special explanation there, and there is the day. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that's that's a quite niche type of numerology, the one I shared with you. So in this numerology, the day of the birth corresponds with the archetype of the father, and the month of the birth is to do with the archetype of the mother. So, for example, number 1 will mean that number 1, for example, people born in January, they will have, in most cases, there are obviously different, charts, but in most cases, they will have a very strong mother, someone who would be like a dominant, perhaps, or stronger than the father. Maybe the mother had to, I don't know, organize the daily life or take important decisions. That kind of things. Yeah. So and then I know a family where a few of the women, they were all born in January, so they were all very strong, like, taking action, making decisions about important aspects of the life. It's like the husband was always like in the background. It was the woman that was taking action and looking after the family. So depending on the month, we will have different type of archetype.
If we take this month, so we have July right now. So how it is generally for July's the archetype of mother?
Yeah, so July can be quite difficult. I mean, to every archetype, there's the positive and sort of negative aspect. So the positive one will be July mother is someone who would inspire the child to perhaps look into art or have artistic abilities, that kind of stuff. So it's to do with emotions. So number 7, so July is the 7th month, is to do with emotions, in expressing ourselves, in style, like style, class, that kind of aspects of life. But also the difficulty of July is that the emotions are quite unpredictable. So depending on what type of relationship it was with the mother, positive or negative, we will have a different pattern of behavior from that mother. Yeah.
But though it might be very emotional and creative.
Yes, emotional. I mean, yes, people that are creative, they deal with emotions as well, or they can express themselves through emotions. Yes. Intuition as well, because number 7 is to do with to do with intuition. So yes, intuition. Yeah.
Okay, and then for the the dates. So today we have the 6th of July, right?
6th of July. So that will be the archetype of the father.
Yeah.
So it will be a type of father. In most cases, again, I have to say that in most cases, a father that is will take into account the emotional aspect of the child's life. So very warm, emotional father, someone who will also introduce perhaps the child to art or artistic ability. So the combination of 6 and 7, there are some. But on the other hand, someone who is born on the 6th of any month will, the father may be quite self-centered. So, there are some of the aspects, when they are very negative, they're quite revealing. So, it's not good to maybe, talk here on a live, but, if some people are interested, then I can obviously.
Yeah, sure. It was just to have an idea of how you work and how it looks like. So you work with the names, you work with the date of birth, and I know that so there is the significance of these months and days, and so what happens? So when you have done like the cartography or the stereotype with a person, so what is the step after? What do you do with these people? How can you help?
Sure. So interpretation is the first step. So it's like we can look at what is at the moment, like the talents, the possibilities, the challenges, but to have like a whole map of what is at the moment. And then the next step is called harmonization, is the step where we can influence in a way what, how we express ourselves, or to help with our talents so that they can, come forward, because some talents we need to like work a bit harder to express, or maybe some people have difficulties in, let's say, financial area or the area of health. So this can be influenced through numerology as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that the people coming to you, let's say I have a problem with health and I tried already a lot of things, but I'm not really satisfied. So then I come to you, or is it the people that really try to do a lot of things before and then they come to you, or what kind of people come to you usually?
I think most people come from like recommendation, or when they had a free interpretation, or we met somehow, when I traveled. So when you mentioned health, there are specific numbers that can mean that there is some karmic debt, to do with health. For example, number 26, if it's in the day of birth, or if someone is number 8, like, you are number whatever, someone is number 1, number 2, number 3. If someone is number 8 from 26, then that means there may be some difficulties in terms of health. quite serious.
Okay.
And
because you just said if you are a number 8, like you told me, and I knew that already, that I am a number 9, for example. So what it is, this number that one person has, how what is that?
Yeah, so it's called like a life path number.
Okay.
So how we do it, we add all the numbers in our date of birth, and then we reduce it to a single number.
Okay.
And this is how we determine which number we are.
Okay. And then you have this one number, like I am 9, and I know like one of my son is 8, for example, but he's not an 8 when 26.
Yeah, it's a different 8, exactly. The 8 from 44. Yeah, so that's a different type of challenges and different type of talent as well. So we have both. So when we come to this world, we do have talent that we should share with other people, and we have challenges that we need to deal with. So when some people ask me, is it possible to change? Then what I say is we have to change. So that's the whole idea of being here.
Okay. It's our purpose to be here. It's really to do this transformation somehow.
Yeah, to change, to evolve, to get to a different level of satisfaction in life. Yeah, and for each person, it will be different area that they struggle with. For example, for someone will be a good leader, and they have no problem with, leading people, being in the spotlight. And other people will have difficulty with something different. So it's different set of challenges for every person.
And then with numerology and with your harmonization, then you can help the change. You can help to have a quicker change. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we can fasten in a way. We can accelerate the change we want. If we put our in our consciousness into it. So it's a process that takes about a year. Harmonization, it's not it's not like that. It takes about a year. Sometimes the client, they feel the changes maybe like after 6 to 7 months. Sometimes it's much longer than a year, because it takes more time to dissolve certain energies.
Okay.
Yeah. So it may be to do with, for example, some people will be very, the confidence will depend on how they are judged by other people, for example, and they will be it will be up and down, depending on what someone else said.
Yes, yeah.
So that can be changed. That can be, by adding some letters, adding some names.
Okay.
If someone has, there is 81 combinations. So and most of them are not helpful, i.e. they tell us about challenges that we're going through. They not make our life easy. They make our life difficult. And it can be very precise. You can tell us how we feel on the inside, because nobody can actually know that. We don't have access to that normally, but through numerology we can decode that. Then when I tell people, so on the inside with yourself, you feel this, and that, and they like, oh, how do you know this?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly. That's why I say it's not something that you can know by looking at a LinkedIn profile or a Facebook profile, because it's not something that we write. And I know that what you told me about one of my son, it's not to find anywhere. And I was really surprised about that. And that's why I know that there is a lot of people skeptical, because when you cannot really understand with your mind, it's difficult. So I was engineer before. It was like, I need facts. So I need to understand the science under that. And for this kind of technique, it's not always easy to understand at first how it works. But I found for me, I always was curious enough to have a look and to think, after trying such a method, to think, well, it must have, there is something there. I don't understand it. There is something there. And I found that really, really interesting to try to do the first step and to see if I feel confident with it, if I feel good with it, and if I want to continue in this kind of process, or yeah, or if it's not for me, so it's fine as well. But yeah, to be open.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting when you say, you know, logical people, people with like engineer background, they will look at the world with, you know, in a different way. But I was very skeptical about numerology, you know, until 3.5 years ago. So how I compare this is like, I don't know exactly how this all works. You know, I'm learning. I've got my notes. I'm learning from my teacher, so I'm learning about it. But it's not like I know exactly how it works. You know, why is this number meaning this, or something different. It's like electricity. I don't know how it works,
Exactly.
but if I know how, you know, I just need to put the plug in, and that I know, and it works for me. So I don't need to know about the current, how, you know, I'm not an electrician, but
exactly.
I can use it.
And you can see the result.
Yeah.
And
I'm
based on the
connected with you
results.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So where can so the people looking at it, though I know that we had a few people online, how can they find you? How can they know better about it?
Okay, so if you know, people from your group of your followers, or anyone that is watching the video, if they are interested in finding out a little bit more, they can contact me for like a free, non-obligation consultation, and we can take it from there. So they can decide if it's something for them, or maybe, you know, they can look for different methods. So I don't have a website yet. I'm in the process of doing this. So I think the easiest way would be to find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag you under this video, and then it's going to be easier to find you.
That's right.
And thank you very much for giving the opportunity to understand better. And I know that in this one session, you can learn a lot already about you, your family. And in my case, you really help to understand the family, because indeed it's where I really like to seek more and to see how I can help my clients more regarding the family and the harmony with the family, and how to be a better leader in the family. And we did like 1 hour session, and you went really deep into the connection with my children, the connection with my parents. So it was really related to the family. It was really, really interesting. And I think that's it's bring like knowledge and conscience that we eventually don't have. So there is something that, I kind of knew, but it was not so clear. And now that you put it word on it, so I completely agree with you, and it's so clear now that it's easier to have that in my mind on a daily basis, and then to react regarding that. And so that's why I know that in this one first session, it's really possible to get a lot already of added values.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for explaining your science and the numerology art. And yes, for the people wanting to have a new experience, to open up as well a little bit, so I suggest that you get in contact with Renata.
Thank you, Christelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for inviting me. Pleasure.
Bye-bye, everybody.
It was lovely.
See you next time.